welcome once again to the Rajcore podcast. And just before we start, this special episode with Harvey Sahota is brought to you by Newman's Roofing Services. A guy called Mark Newman. I've actually used his roofing services. He's been great, honestly. So if you're in the Midlands, make sure you check him out. His number is 07731471250. So make sure you check him out. Yep, Newman's Roofing Services. He also does scaffolding and I think metal stuff anyway. But check him out. Yeah, give him a shout. Anyway, guys, today, before we move on, and make sure you sponsor the show. Make sure you subscribe to the list to the show. Subscribe, like, share. Not only to myself but Harvey as well, and I've been looking forward so much to get in touch with Harvey again. We've both been ill, haven't it, Harvey?
Yeah, under the weather. I'm tired from gigging, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So Harvey, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back to the show.
Pleasure to be back, Raj.
Honestly, it was the last show was one of my favorite shows, and I think people could tell that. The feedback I got was like, one feedback on Twitter, I think someone said, was it Twitter? I forgot what it was. They just said like two guys just talking about passionate about music. That's it.
Yeah.
There was nothing else.
It's more of a conversation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just having a laugh and passion. You can see basically the passion about Sahota and music came out, which is great, and it's lovely talking to like-minded musicians and. But anyway, let's move on. How you been since we last chatted?
Well, since we last spoke, and it feels like ages ago, but not ages ago. Obviously, as you know, I've been quite busy with some gigs. Couple of mele, and I've had the opportunity to perform at some private events, and also at some charity functions as well. So yeah, it's been a real busy summer. I will say that. Probably one of my busiest, if I remember back. But yeah, it's been good. Can't complain.
Which is great to see, Harvey, because like I know what a struggle it is for sometimes artists, to get shows and stuff, especially in this climate at the moment. So it was great to see you do that, and I saw some of your shows and stuff, and some of the Sohota's covers and stuff, and just amazing.
Yeah, I always try and get those in because obviously that's my roots and that's where I started. But yeah, it's this year's been like unusually busy for me. I mean, I normally, thanks to my label, which we'll talk about, Kiss Records, I normally tend to get, at least 2-3 million a year, which, for someone like me, that's amazing for me, considering I don't put out material all the time. So I'm always grateful to get the opportunity to perform. But I think my performances, and again, we'll talk about this a bit later, but I think when I perform, I fully give 110%. And I think it comes across. And I think other promoters and other, people who are putting events together, when they see that, they want to see that energy at their events. So that's what I do.
That's phenomenal. So how do you want to do this? You want to pick up where we left off? I remember where we left off, or do you want to?
No, we can
talk about other stuff.
No, I think it's. I mean, the podcast about my journey. So we were kind of stopped at the point last time where, Punjabi X which was me and Amit. We had produced an album, and that had Guri Punjaban on there. Yeah. Which again, just as a recap, the lead song on that was. My song vocally. We had Master Salim on there and Surinder Shinda. So, I never imagined that my song would have been the lead song on there. I didn't decide that. The record label decided it after he listened to the whole album once it was put together. At one point, it did appear that it could have been Surinder Shinda's song that would have been the lead song on the album. Yeah. And Guri Punjaban just happened to be the last one that we did. And for some reason, that ended up being the best song on the album, which again, call it a fluke or whatever, but it was done. That song, I believe, because I was involved with it vocally, I put a lot of effort into it being my first vocal song out there. So I really did put a lot of effort into it, and Amit certainly put a lot of effort into the music throughout the whole album. Both of us did. But I think that one there we captured something special, some of that Sahota magic,
It
call it
was,
that.
yeah.
The vocals and the music kind of came together, and like I said in the last podcast that we did, that was I followed everything I learned of them guys to put that track together, and then that was the result, And anyone who wants to catch that, it's on YouTube, and go ahead and view it and see if you like it. It's Kuri Punjabi. Um, yeah. So after that, that's when we fully got introduced to the industry. Because before that, I was a nobody. I mean, technically, I'm still kind of a nobody. I never I never say I'm a big artist. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm just trying to make my way through this thing. Um, and so after the Punjabi X album, yeah, we started getting some gigs, and as a promoter by the name of Kushti, which a lot of people will know in London, he took me on as a kind of performing artist for him, and he happened to give me lots of gigs. Equinox, we did a couple of daytimers. We done up north as well, and we done a lot of obviously club shows here in London. Done one or two in Birmingham. Did a couple in, I think maybe one in Dudley. Yeah, but that was like during the first year of the launch, which was kind of expected. For us, it was like we went from being nothing to being everywhere. And this wasn't a time when social media was
No.
fully kicked in. Facebook.
I think it was MySpace then, wasn't it? It was
I think
MySpace.
it was MySpace was coming along, or it just started, but there wasn't no Facebook. There wasn't any of
No.
this social media stuff, and the only way you can get your music out was to have it play on Z Music. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every new artist would be getting up to play there. And then there was a show on Z Music. Dharminder, he used to present it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I can't remember what it was called now. Was it called Simply Bhangra or something like that? I can't remember what it was called, but
Is it just
Just
Bhangra?
Bhangra.
Just
That's it.
Bhangra, innit? Just
Just
Bhangra.
Bhangra. That's it. And he was such a dude as well. So, I throughout that whole kind of period, we got to go on there twice to be interviewed. So we were thrown into this thing with, now we're suddenly part of the Bhangra industry, and now at gigs we're meeting artists like Dr. Zeus and Rishi Rich and Juggy D and all them guys, and they're doing their thing and we're doing our thing. And I think at that time I felt like, yeah, man, I've really, I've really made it, because I'm in amongst all these guys. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Hmm.
Um, but then, like, kind of like a year down the line, I would probably say, and did the Punjabi X album do well? Yeah, didn't do too bad. I wouldn't say it done great. This is just me being completely honest. Did my song do well? Well, it done well in the sense that, well, firstly, people got confused because people thought it was Sahota's.
Yeah.
So we kind of had that swinging around. And then the other side of it was, you know, commercially, the whole Punjabi X name didn't really go with the Sahota's music in that sense. And I guess that's where kind of our marketing, in terms of what we were thinking, kind of fell flat a little bit.
Hmm.
Maybe we should have gone with Harvey Sahota, but I couldn't really do that because I was working with Amit and he wanted kind of a share in things
Yeah.
in the whole process, which is fair. So I guess from that angle, when we released Punjabi X and when we released Kuri Punjaban, so to speak, I got the recognition from that, as if to say, oh, wow, this guy sounds just like them and the music sounds just like them. And then there was this whole thing about, have the Sahotas produced this for you?
Yeah.
Has Mookie done the music? And I mean, one of the persons actually said it was Dr. Zeus. I think I met him in Equinox or a gig in Watford somewhere, and he was there, and he goes, "Go on, tell us the truth. It was Mookie in it done the music." I was like, "No, bro, it's just we done it ourselves," and people just couldn't believe it because, again, it's just that sound. People didn't either, if they tried, it was not the same as, or it wasn't really hitting that mark, or whatever it was. And ours, I guess, has got the closest at the time. So yeah, so we started, with the gigs and that, and then obviously that's when Dr. Zeus released his album Under the Influence, which again is what I would like to class as a genre-changing album.
Absolutely, yeah.
He took the sound from where it was, and obviously DJ Sanj was doing his thing around that time as well. So music was changing between that kind of 2001, 2002 to what it became eventually in like 2006, 7. The Bhangra that we knew in those years, it had evolved, and the Zeus album Under the Influence, that really changed things. That brought this new Punjabi sound, which was more urban than it was Punjabi, but it still had Desi elements in it. So obviously with that coming out, our sound, which again was unique, was Sahota's based, but it wasn't modern anymore. So it's almost like we missed the previous bus, and then we tried to get on this bus, and unfortunately for us, it didn't really work out as well as I'd hoped in that regards. But yeah, so off that album, I think I must have gigged for about maybe 2 years, on and off. And the contentious point is, it got to a point where, because I hadn't started releasing anything, Amit had obviously gone on and left the industry due to family personal reasons. So I was kind of stuck there as a solo artist, and then I tried to reinvent myself, but then I didn't know all of Amit's kind of stuff that he did. In terms of the keyboards and things like that, I didn't really know that side of things that well. I was more the beats guy. I was the overall arching person on that. So I kind of fell off the radar in a way during that kind of 2006-7 period. And then I wasn't getting any gigs. And the gigs I was getting, everybody was asking for freebies. Yeah. Which is a massive thing in this industry when you're starting off, or when, let's just say, you don't have the pull. And I guess the promoters are going to say, well, that makes sense. And I can see this one side of it to say, yeah, I can see how it makes sense. Well, if you're a nobody, or if you're a up and coming. But I always think you should still get paid something.
But they exploit you, though. That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I remember doing a gig on New Year's Eve in Birmingham. Now, obviously, I'd driven there all the way. Amit had taken his keyboards, and we had 2 door players with us, who are now known as Drumline. Mm-hmm. So it's Jazz from Drumline. He originally started with myself, and again they learned off Sunil Kali and some other ustads as well, but they started with me, and again we just got to a point where we just couldn't pay them. I wasn't getting paid, so I couldn't pay them, and things just fell off like that, because I wasn't in a position to be able to really release anything yet. And there was me trying to look for gigs, because that was the only income. And I guess even to this day, unless you're doing phenomenally well in the streamings, it's the gigs where the money comes in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I kind of fell off the radar. But yeah, so that's kind of how that whole Punjabi X episode went. So then I think I got really disappointed in the way that the industry, or not even the industry, how the live scene was. I couldn't say how they treated me, because, to be honest, there were people that treated me really good, and then there were promoters who didn't really give a shit. I didn't have any management. Kushti also kind of dropped off the scene. Those sort of gigs were going off the radar as well. So yeah, like I said, it just got to a point where I just thought, what, do I want to carry this on, or do I not want to do it? So that's where we kind of got to end that chapter of things.
I had a similar experience to you, actually, Harvey. You know, when I was just sorry to just to interject,
No, no,
because
no. Yeah.
I'm just I can really relate to what you're saying because basically I was when I did 3.5 Glass in 2008. That
Mm.
was number one for about 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and it was like we did really well, attracted, but we was gigging the whole country at that time, and we'd gig. We at least expect expenses, but you'd go there, you put your own petrol and everything, and you go there. Oh no, we haven't made enough money. And what are you supposed to do? Take them to court
No,
over
no,
like over like £100. You know, it's like
no, no. And I guess this is the thing, about the whole industry, how it was then. It's very different now. I would say. I wouldn't say it's a million miles away, but I would still say that things are a little bit more settled. You know, it's almost like we went through a time where only the very, very top artists got paid.
yeah,
Which again, the promoters are going to say, "Well, what else do you want?" They're the ones that are pulling in the crowds. They should get the lion's share. Yeah, the lion's share. Not everybody else gets nothing. You know.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't want to come on a podcast and start, you know, cussing the industry because I do love this industry. I'm part of it, and it does. You've just got to know how to work it, I guess. And I guess it's taken this long. Um, but like I said, at that time, I just wanted to give up, and I did. I
yeah,
think I did give up on the industry, but I didn't give up on music.
yeah.
So what I did was at that time, I built my own studio in here. Obviously, this is the second one now, but I built another studio in here, and I started to learn, the other side of music, which was like keys and chords and
Hmm.
all that sort of stuff, because I didn't really know. I knew it, but I didn't know it enough to just sit there and start playing chords and start making music and production and
Because you
things
have to
like that.
build your confidence up as well, don't you?
Yes, well, it's confidence, it's knowledge, and I guess that void that Amit left, I had to do something about it, and I thought, well, I'm not going to sit here and not do music or look for another keyboardist. I just thought I'm just going to be a solo artist from now on.
Hmm.
I'm just going to be Harvey Sahota. So I went to reinvent myself in that stance. But again, learning music, and again, we're going to go back to that whole technical, learning all the technical aspects, the mixing, the mastering, learning packages like Cubase, and even the things, the plugins that they come with. It takes time,
Hmm.
and all that time equated to like almost like a year and a half, 2 years of my life.
Hmm.
And it got to a point where I hadn't put any songs together. I hadn't done any songs. And I thought, okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to use what I got. And I got so good at it in terms of the technicalities, of knowing how to use the software and use the plugins to put Indian music together, plus all my knowledge from before. I actually started a course. I started teaching.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually started teaching, and I kind of gave up on the fact that I may or may not ever release music again of my own. But I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach other people how to produce music. So I started working for a college
Wow, that's pretty
here in
cool,
East
man.
London. Yeah, and I did that for about a good probably 4 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah. Of course, it was part time because I was still obviously working in my
Yeah.
day job, but this was something I was doing on the side, just like music was always for me. And then I started producing for other people.
Wow.
You know, and I produced a few ghost tracks for some artists, not big ones. I'm not going to sit here and start saying, yeah, yeah, I've got a few big numbers in them, but I haven't. I produced it for up and coming artists, people that didn't have anywhere else to go. So, but in that sense, I was learning myself. So I was doing it for fun. I was doing it for more production experience. I was doing that, and again, didn't really do anything with my vocals. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how that went. So then we're going to get to the point now where my music kind of turned a corner. And that was basically, I would probably say around 2011. And in that time, I had met up with a few other musicians
Mm-hmm.
because of the course that I was teaching. So you see how one door, you know what they say, one door
Yeah,
closes and then another one
absolutely. Yeah.
opens, and then because of that door opened, and then another door opened. So I met this guy called Amar B, who is a donkey player. He came along on the course, and he was into live music. So he was a donkey player into live music. He wanted to learn production. So he kind of stayed on the course for about, I think, maybe, I don't know, half a year. He was learning because the courses were built around kind of like level one and level two.
Gotcha.
And it was about 12 weeks per level. So it was like a 12-week course. And then you go on, come back and do another 12-week
Yeah.
for level two. So, he kind of stayed for that. But then whilst he was there, he kept saying to me, Harvey, you had a really good song, really good album, Punjabi X. Why didn't you do anything else? Then I explained to him what the score was, and he said, look, why don't we put a live band together? And I was like, I don't know, because I had never sung live. I was only ever a studio singer up to that point. And there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
There is a big difference in being a studio singer and a live singer. The techniques are different. The style, I wouldn't say the style is different. I guess you can be both. But being both is tough in terms of you've got to know different things, different techniques.
Can you elaborate on that for us?
So, for example, when I sang Kudi Punjaban, my voice, it wasn't loud and out there. I got away with singing it I wouldn't say a quiet voice, but it wasn't a loud voice either. It was just I would say a slightly projected voice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, without getting too technical for the listeners, it's when you sing live, your voice has to come from here and out.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that difference is the key. And then suddenly you're in a different world of vocal. And it's really empowering when you start singing like that. But I didn't start like that. And then
Mm.
I kept saying to him, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I can do it or not. I didn't think I was good enough to do it. And then it took like ages and ages and ages of talks and discussions before I finally. And by that time, Amit had kind of wanted to make a comeback into not the industry per se, but he wanted to play keys again. And so I said to him, I said, look, I'm going to put a band together. You want to be a part of it? And he said, yeah, let's do it. So we got a few musicians together. It was myself, Ahmed B, Amit, and then a few other key musicians from the London live scene. Some of them were on the Bollywood scene. So they weren't even into Bhangra.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly but surely, we started to practice and rehearse. But I remember in probably say the first 4 sessions that we had, I didn't know how to sing live. I was so used to studio singing where you can sing a line and then stop,
Yeah.
sing a line and then stop, drop in a few words here and there if they weren't correct the first time
Yeah.
round. And I certainly remember the first session when the guys they started the song and I was about to come in, and then I couldn't. I just, well, not to say I shit myself, but kind of in that sense, I was like, and then I just couldn't do it. I was so
Wow.
nervous. I was so, you get nervous behind the mic anyway, but normally it's just you and the engineer in the studio.
Yeah.
The nerves are always there because you're going for this take, you're going for this thing. And other singers might say, yeah, but you get used to it after a while. And sure, you get used to it after a while if you sing enough songs. But yeah, so we put this band together. And I remember the first time going in and going, and I couldn't do it. And I was trying to sing the song as they were playing, and then I was just like, guys, this is not happening today. And then I really had to go away and really sit down and try and work out what was going on. And that's when I really got into vocals and trying to improve my vocal and trying to be a live singer. Starting a song from one bit and trying to finish it
Wow.
in one go with as little mistakes as possible.
Did you find like when in live singing, because you've got like, sort of puckering up and down, like you have to get the key right and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas in the studio, it's a bit different. You're in the vibe.
Well, in the studio, you've got the backing track in
Yeah,
your ear.
exactly.
It will never go off because it's
Yeah.
produced and it's there.
Yeah.
So when you say you have to pick up the key, well, that's easily done. And obviously, then you've had time to rehearse it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the only song generally that you're rehearsing when you've
Yeah.
got, when you're working on a song. Unless you're like, Diljit or Gurnoja, that's smashing out like two songs a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to that point about the whole key thing, that depends on your musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So if your musicians give you good backing and it's all in key and they all know what they're doing, then there's never an issue. Unless you're a really, really bad singer, you shouldn't be able to go off. Or you and the band haven't rehearsed, which again is a thing.
Yeah.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
When people don't rehearse with the band and the band are just figuring it out as the song's going, then a lot of that can happen. It can be, and the thing with me is I'm so particular that it could take like the bass player to not play the right notes, and then in my ear, I'll start going off.
It can throw you off easily.
Yeah, it does. It does throw you off. It does.
Yeah, because if the bass player's playing different keys and it's not going with the rhythm of the song, you're thinking that note doesn't belong here.
Yeah. And I've had
that,
and it's almost caused me to go off tune, off key. It's happened, and then I've listened back to it and I thought, oh God, how did that happen? But it does happen,
mm-hmm.
But I also know when I've practiced with a band and I performed a song and I've recorded it, I've listened back to it, I've thought that was bang on, that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not without scrutiny that it happens. So yeah, that's where we kind of got to. And then I guess after that point, we started to think of ideas of how to promote ourselves.
Mm.
So by now it's like 2016.
So 5 years.
Yeah, it was 5 years on and off. Of this kind of rehearsing and then not rehearsing, and then we lost a few players. Then the music they kind of went dead. So there was this 5-year period of doing this live music thing, and then it kind of went dead for a while, and then it kind of come back up for a while, and then it kind of went dead. It was very, very organic in that sense.
Could I ask you just a bit about that phase? Because I know how difficult it is to put together a band and keep them solid and keep them together. Just elaborate on that bit.
Look, the thing with bands is, you get musicians. Look, again, this is a very political subject and touchy subject, but there are musicians out there who are doing this music thing just for the money.
Yeah.
That's their one and only goal, which again is fine because it is a business.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. And nobody would want to work for free. I didn't want to perform for free when the promoters were asking me. But it's not about that. When you're trying to put a band together, then yeah, you need that initial time to get songs ready, get performances ready, and then it depends on the level of musicianship, whether the band members have ever been in a band of this type.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my sound or the sound that me and Amit wanted, or me and Amit wanted for this band, very specific. It was the Sahota sound.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to sound like they did live. We didn't want to sound like a Bhangra band.
No.
We wanted to sound like the Sahotas did, and we had all the material there to be able to do it. But some of the players, they'd never played that style before, never played like that before.
Mm-hmm.
And it is different.
Of
It is
course.
very different to how you would play. The keyboard players have to be a certain way. The second keyboard player is pretty much on chord, like skank chord and bubble chord duties majority of the way. Or then there's the pieces, the Sahota pieces.
Yeah.
You have to. They're about as complicated as it gets,
Yeah.
and you got to learn them for it to sound properly. You can't just play your own interpretation of them.
Yeah.
And this again was me putting the level of excellence I wanted in the band up here.
Yeah.
It didn't really let's just say enthuse the other players. They weren't, not in a disrespectful way, but they weren't willing to really go for it and learn. There was a point at which we got to, probably around, I would say, 2016, where we had a good hour and a half set, and it was all bang on perfect. And I would probably say 50% of the songs were Sahota songs, and then 50% of the songs were music that we had made like Sahotas, but for other songs.
Yeah.
So our own cover versions.
Yeah.
Not us performing as a band what was on the artist tape, but us performing the songs as we've reimagined them.
Yeah.
True cover versions.
Which is the way it should be. Because
Well,
you're
yeah.
original.
Yeah. Look, you can as a band play the original, just how the original sounds, but you can do that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can play it exactly how the artist intended, or you can make your own version of it and then play that. Which again was what the Sahotas used to do. The Sahotas had so many cover versions of other songs, like Challa and Dupatta Tera Sat Rangada,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard Sahota's versions of those songs.
Man, I've never heard that.
And it's something else, mate. It absolutely is something else. But again, that's how it's meant to be done. A lot of the Gora bands will do that.
Well, the Bullia were unique. So the Bullia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they took good night.
Yeah, it's almost like a
reggae. Hottest vibe on it.
Yeah. And I've done my own version of their version, and I perform that when I go out. But yeah, so going back to that whole band thing, we got to this point, and then I thought, okay, well, what do we do now? So at the time, the Bhangra Music Awards were coming up, and I think it was either the second year that they'd been running, or the third year. I can't remember exactly right now, but they had best new band category open up, and Ahmed B said to me, he goes, we should go for it. And I was like, I don't know. But you know what? We put together a set. We put our name in the hat. We did a live version, our version of Sajjana, which is on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that song hadn't come out yet, by the way. It hadn't been released. We hadn't finished production on it. So we did a live version of it on Facebook Live at the time and put our name in the hat with, and I think there was maybe four other bands. And one of the other bands, I don't know if you've heard of them, was a band from up north. Really good guys, Brotherhood.
Why does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it rings a bell because they also tried to put a band together from up north at the same sort of time. So this
Wow.
is when, and those were musicians who may or may have not have played with existing industry people, but these were people who have developed their skills over the last few years, pretty much similar
Wow.
to our bands. So technically, we were two new bands, and then obviously we went to the awards, after having been nominated, and then on the night we won.
That's I've got to say, Harvey, that's Sahota's cover. Sorry, that Sajjanava cover was phenomenal, dude.
Yeah,
Honestly.
but at this point in time, we hadn't produced that. That hadn't come out yet.
Yeah. Okay.
All we had done was we had just performed our version of it
Yeah.
online, and it was because of that we got all the votes from the
Wow.
public. So yeah, so we won Best Band in 2017. Now what that did, that spurred me on to think, right, I'm now going to produce a single to help launch the band. And then that single was Sajjana. So our version, should I say, mine and Amit's version of the Sajjana Be Sajjana that we performed as a band,
Can I
properly produced.
can I ask you about just about that track?
Yeah, yeah.
When you say you produced it, right? It sounded like it was live, or is that the illusion that you had the band in the video?
I think what. Okay, so there's two faults here. Again, remember, I'd released that single
Yeah.
as a vehicle to launch my live band.
Yeah.
Right. It's all produced. The people in the band, technically, they didn't play on it. Not all of them.
Wow.
Amit's in the band,
Yeah.
so he played on it. Obviously, I played some stuff on there. But it's a studio produced song. Which how even the Sahota's albums were. Maybe the very first one, maybe two, had people from their band play, like Parkish and Vijay.
Yeah.
But the songs in the studio that the Sahota's produced, they were always not either, but they were produced by Surgeon Mukhi, and Raj Sahota played all the percussion on there. But that's how it is normally. Sometimes that's even how it is in bands, Gora bands.
Yeah, but you can see the thing. I think I'm
But
trying
the
to get
video,
at.
but what happened with the video is obviously we shot the video with the band,
Yeah.
and because they all knew the songs, sorry, because we'd been performing it, then it was easy for them to kind of almost portray that on the screen.
Maybe it was that, but you just get you get the feel like of a live band. You know how Salters albums were, whereas other albums, like, no disrespect to, I'm not saying it like that, but you don't get that same feel where yours sounded fresh. It sounded like it was live. It sounded like everyone had played it. You managed to capture that.
Yeah, and the way we caught that, the way we put that together, it was done similarly. Like, again, I keep referring to the Sahota's albums. One of the things about the Sahotas was they performed their songs exactly how they were on the tape.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, one of the reasons why they could do that is because whatever arrangements you put together, you've got to make sure that you have all the musicians available to be able to play
Gotcha.
the arrangements.
Okay. Gotcha.
So in our band, we had a drummer, we had two keyboardists, a bass player, a guitar player, and then a talkie player and a drummer. I think I've said drummer already. But ours was like a 6-7 piece band. So now if you've got the drummer, he can handle the percussion. You've got the talkie player, he can handle all of that side of things. Now, in our songs, we didn't have dol. There's no dol. Only talkie. Single talkie in Sajjana. So therefore, the percussion is possible on stage as long as they learn the songs. Then you've got the two keyboardists. They've got two keyboards. So you've got a total of 4 keyboards on stage. That covers every aspect of it. And between them, they share the duties of pieces and backing.
all the little fillers and stuff
all
as
the
well.
fills
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah,
Between the two of them,
yeah.
they learned and they arranged, should I say, we arranged as a band that, right, on this bit you'll play that piece, you'll play the other side of the piece, you'll do the backing on that piece, you'll do the strings there, you'll do the organ on that side, or you'll do the organ and the piano together,
Hmm.
two hands, and then the bass player's taking care of the bass, and the guitar player's taking care of the skank or the chords. So that's why that song, and any songs where bands have produced them, even if they're not, fully played by the band, that's why it sounds exactly like it did on tape. And DCS were like that too. All of
Yeah.
DCS's songs sounded exactly like that. But not all the band players came in and played the music.
No.
But they had enough players on stage to be able to handle the arrangements. And then the sounds that you use on the record are the sounds that you're playing on the stage. So we were using all Roland sounds. So all of our keyboards are Roland.
Wow.
So the trumpets that you hear on Sajjana on the song, they're Roland trumpets. You're going to hear the Roland trumpets on the stage. That's what connects the audience with the, oh my God, that sound is from there. It's not, it's not, oh, that we don't know what plugin was used to make that sound, but here's our version of it.
That's really interesting, Harvey, because like a lot of the time I hear bands that come on, right? And there might be great musicians, but they fail to replicate the track unless they put like a backing track on stuff. So the way you did it was it's
completely live.
Yeah.
Completely live. We didn't use any backing tracks.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because you have you seen that? Like, this is not. I'm not disrespecting the band. What I'm saying is that they can't emulate that sound of the actual track.
Yeah, but look, you're asking the impossible there.
Yeah.
You literally are asking the impossible because look, as I said again, live music these days, it's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business because I don't think nowadays anyone ever books one artist if they're going live.
Yeah.
Unless like you're Jazzy B.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jazzy B will come with a set of musicians who always work with him. And even then, some of the sounds and the songs, that they won't sound like what they are on the tape.
Yeah.
But that's okay because the people that are his band, it's not just Jazzy B's band. They could be working for other artists.
Yeah, that's how they're session musicians, aren't they?
Yeah. It's all gone down the session musician route, which again is fine because you have to go and move with the times. So now we've come up with, now the industry has, probably about maybe 3 main session bands, and, the one I've managed to work with, and again, I'm really grateful for the fact that I've got to work with these bands. It's like Tubbsy's Live Experience band.
Tubbsy's phenomenal.
And his band is phenomenal, and he's got some phenomenal artists on there. But what you'll find is some of their artists do go work for other bands too.
Yeah.
So it's become almost, which is a good thing, I think. It's become a community of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing. But that comes at a cost of what I like to class as accuracy. Musical accuracy. Not that they don't know how to play music. They're phenomenal musicians.
Yeah.
And they know music inside out. You've got people like Vishal Mahe. He's like one of the most phenomenal musicians. And he's so young. And he's still got a long way to go. So he's going to be a phenomenal force to watch out for. But then you've got people like Harry, keys. He's played keyboards. He's played keyboards since as far back as I remember.
Yeah.
And again, he's another phenomenal keyboardist. But he can't learn, and you can't expect him. He can't learn every single song of every Bhangra song that was ever made and remember all the pieces.
Yeah, and the sound as well, the tone, how's he supposed to get
and the sounds and the tones and all that. It's just, that's an impossible ask. And you would never ask him to do that Unless there is a specific gig with already a specific songs laid out that they've had time to practice.
Hmm.
And they might get the most famous pieces in, you know, but sometimes it's like they're not going to be able to play all the pieces that all the characters. And then you have to ask yourself does the audience even remember them?
Hmm.
Unless they're, silly fans like us who probably remember in every piece that was played in every album.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at the reality and the practicalities of things.
Yeah.
As much as I was probably too hard on my band in terms of, but then we were going for that.
Yeah.
We were going for that. And at that point, kind of around, I think 2019, just before COVID, actually, we weren't getting the number of gigs we were expecting.
Why do you think that is?
Despite having won the awards, it's really simple. I'm going to say it what it is. It's because I haven't released any songs. I hadn't released any songs apart from that one Sajjana song. Mm-hmm. And that one Sajjana song got me gigs as a solo artist, but then nobody was prepared to pay for the band.
Yeah.
We did, don't get me wrong, we got like 3 full band gigs. We got that. And we played live and it was amazing. Loved every minute of it. But once again, the public, who are the people that book you, they're not gonna book me based on one song. It just doesn't work that way. I didn't have a following, then at that time. It was growing, but it wasn't certainly there. Not enough to start getting me gigs for booking and stuff. But one thing that did happen, as a result of that single, when we did finally put it together and release it. So that single came out probably, it was either 2018, very early 2018, I think it was. Or maybe it was late 2017. I can't remember exactly which. Not important, but it was around that time. What ended up happening when that single came out and we put it out, it went silly on social media.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It's phenomenal, dude.
It went silly. It went silly on Facebook. It went, literally, I would say it went viral.
Yeah.
The song, how it was received by everybody, phenomenally received.
It was that good though, Harvey. Honestly, it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Honestly, to the industry,
which is a lot of what people said, and it's, again, that wasn't the purpose of it. The purpose of it was to launch the band, officially. Yeah. But it became something else. And what happened as a result of it going viral, we got a lot of attention. We got in the Eastern Eye. We got an interview with, a couple of the online magazines.
Yeah.
I think Tape Deck online. They gave us a nice interview. Again, it went really great, and I think it went up to number 2 in the world charts. Wow. On iTunes. And initially I released it as a free track. Like in the first, I would say 4 days, I released it as a free track for everybody to download from SoundCloud. But what ended up happening was I got a call from Kiss Records. Shazad Sheikh, who's the guy who's been involved in the Bhangra industry from back in the day, Kiss Records. I think he was one of the first ones to do Jazzy B's albums. Mm-hmm. He's done a couple of Jazzy B albums back in the day. Other artists as well, which I can't remember at the moment. But he rang me and he said, "Why are you putting it out for free? It's a great song." And I was like, well, and at that time I didn't know anything about, the rights for it. Yeah. Could we release it as a song? Could we or not? So I just said, look, and he goes, are you signed to anyone? I said, no, I'm not. I said, I've just done this to launch the band. So he then said, look, I'd like to sign you. And I couldn't believe it because I hadn't been
Wow.
signed to a label since Kudi Punjabi days,
Wow.
and I'd almost not given up hope of releasing songs in the industry. I just had thought, well, we'll just do one, maybe we'll do two to kind of get the band going, and that's all I really want to do. I just wanted to go out and play live, and I didn't really care where. I just wanted to get out there and sing and perform live. But he signed me and he said, right, he goes, pull it off SoundCloud. He goes, we're going to release it properly. And then he said, but we need a video. So then we went out and shot a video for it, which is the one that you've seen.
Yeah.
And even that was done like literally in a day. Like probably one of the lowest budgets ever.
But it was really cool, the video was, to be fair. It just captured the essence of the song.
Yeah, and the band.
Yeah.
And that was all we wanted. We managed to get ourselves in a industrial unit and dress it up how we wanted to. But yeah, that's how we kind of done it. I'm laughing because I'm remembering some of the mess ups of the day. But yeah, it was funny. It was funny. It was a good laugh. It was a good experience. I'm glad I got to do it. And I directed and edited that video.
Really?
I shot and edited.
Wow.
So that's another string to the bow, basically.
Wow.
Because we couldn't. I'd been looking into doing our own videos and stuff for like years and years and years. And that's kind of how we got to there.
Wow.
So yeah, so got signed, and then as a result of me being signed, he was like, "Look, I can't sign the band, but I'm going to sign you." So then that's why that single came out as Harvey Sahota featuring the live crew.
Yeah.
Because they were featured on the single.
Wow.
So, but as a result of that, I started getting gigs myself, PAs at that time. And again, it's all thanks to Kiss Records. But wherever I could take my live element, I used to take it. And we did perform live at Bradford Miller.
Yeah.
And at Luton Miller as a band. So we got to do that in like 2019.
Wow. This is just before COVID.
Just before, yeah. And we were just taking off, really. We,
Don't tell me COVID killed the band. Oh my gosh.
I think COVID killed a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe because we were working on dropping the second single.
Yeah.
Which was another cover version.
What track? You can tell us all.
Well,
exclusive to the Rajcore podcast.
It's exclusive.
You don't have to tell me.
Well, look, that song is still in the works, but it's going to take a different identity now, so I don't want to really give it away.
Okay, fair enough.
Plus, Kiss Records will kill me anyway.
Yeah,
I'll tell you later. I'll tell you after the show. But yeah, so anyway, Shazad said, he goes, look, we need a brand new song. And I was like, okay. And we started, me and Amit started working on a song with, me and Devinder J started working on a song. It was a piece of music that he had done already, and it was fully Sahota's up. And I said, that's mine. And he goes, you can have it. He goes, let's do it together. So me and Devinder J. So Devinder J was also part of the band. Another thing I forgot to mention. We brought him on board as part of, to be the second keyboard player.
He mentioned it, I remember now.
Yeah. And the reason why is because obviously he loved Sahota's music too.
Yeah.
So we had two keyboardists now, Amit and Devinder J, who loved Sahota's music. So they were like the perfect candidates to play in the band because they wanted to play the pieces as they were on the tape.
Yeah.
Another thing to just round off the band, So yeah, so whilst working with him and the band, me and Devinder J, we started looking at the production side, especially when, Kiss Records, they turned around and said, "Well, we need a single from you now, not a cover version, a brand new song."
Hmm.
So we put together a song called Mitranu, and I don't know if you've heard it, um, but that was, I would say, my second original song
I'm pretty
after
sure I
Puri
have heard
Punjab.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it literally is once again pretty much another ode to Sahotas. It's got their sound, it's got everything, it's got the pieces, that kind of vibe vocally. Um, but as you know, music by this point, 2019, heavily changed again.
Mm.
You know, and now it was more about folk, desi, hip hop beats.
Yep.
The Canadian artists had started to, bring their influence over
Yep.
to the UK. So the sound was changing. And again, just one of those things. Released it too late. It was too late. That sound that we had too late. And again, it didn't really go anywhere. It didn't even have, funnily enough, it didn't even have the same sort of impact that Sajjana had,
Yeah.
you know. And I think the world, or suddenly the Bhangra world, had forgotten about the Sahota sound and maybe didn't want it, or maybe the people just weren't used to hearing that sort of music
Oh,
again.
it's a different industry now, isn't it? Like
Oh,
people, like
even the last 3 years, it's
yeah, people,
massively changed.
yeah, people don't remember. Like I remember. On a side note, I went to India and I asked, they was playing some songs and stuff, and I mentioned Jamkilla or Mohammed Rafi or those kind of singers. They didn't know who they were. Do you know what I mean? If you don't remember Mohammed Rafi, then it's it's things have changed, aren't they?
Yeah, dude, it is what it is,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so like nothing really happened with that 2019 song with Tranu, and I was really disappointed with that, you know, because you feel it as an artist when you
Yeah.
release something, and it had a great video concept, and they had a great video. We shot the video, but when it doesn't do well, it's kind of very disheartening.
Hmm.
But this is the game, you got to get used to that, and I just didn't put out enough material quick enough.
Yeah.
That's probably where I should have been better. Looking back, and then obviously COVID came, and that shut down the whole world. Forget the bungalow industry; it shut it all down, and suddenly online content went through the roof because of that.
Mm.
So COVID changed the direction of a lot of things, including the way online, Instagram, TikTok, and all that now. So now you technically you don't even need a label now.
No.
But what you do need is followership.
Yeah.
You know, if you have really, really good following and you put out good content, then technically you could release a song and it could become a hit. And I've seen songs that came out a while ago come back to become viral.
Yep. Yep. There's
You know,
there's no expiry date on songs anymore, is it?
now that's it. It could take somebody taking a snippet of your music,
Yeah.
and then the next thing you know, it's back again. I think that happened not recently. Probably in the last 2 years. The one I remember is it's a folk Punjabi song. Females sang it. Um, Now I've totally forgot the name of it. But it's the one with the dance moves that all the girls, Punjabi girls, were doing. Activa, is that what it's called?
Oh, you're on about Satnam Sagar.
Yeah, if that's
Yeah, yeah, Satnam Sagar and Shammi. So that was a song in the 2000s,
see,
and it just blew up.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, so after COVID, it was a very confusing time, and I thought, well, what do I do now? And Shazad was like, look, we need another song from you. Start working on another one. So again, me and Davinder J got together again and thought, all right, forget what's happened on the previous one. Let's try and do something different. So now we're kind of not stepping away from Sahotas, but almost trying to think, well, let's just do something completely different. So then I did a song called Mohabbat Love 2021. And then we had a showcase of all the artists that were performing, like a comeback from COVID type thing that the record label put together. And Hunters was on that album, and it's called the Hope album. And so Hunters was on there, H. Dumby's on there, J. Caden's on there, Upran Sangeet's on there, and a couple of other artists as well, including who else was on there? Shinji C, he's on there. So we did like a showcase day where we just recorded our videos in a kind of unit to kind of promote the album, the Hope album.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hope after COVID type thing.
Yeah.
And then that song didn't do too bad. Again, not the success I was hoping for. But again, was the sound right for the music that was coming out then? I don't know. It's a case of like missed the mark slightly again.
I don't think so, by the way, Harvey. I've got a slightly different take on what you're saying. Yeah, it's I think there's a niche for your music, even for the Sahota style. What it is though, when you mentioned it earlier, when you start release music, that traction doesn't pick up.
Yeah, and nowadays, as you've seen, to be like, let's just say, a successful artist, it's about consistency.
Exactly. So I reckon if you started releasing your Sahota's music again, right, and you're releasing 12 tracks a year, I reckon you're blow, dude. Honestly.
Well, I mean, it's you need a lot of time and effort for that.
Exactly. I'd listen to it. I'd listen to every single track.
No. Mitranu, listen, there are some guys out there who totally love that song.
Yeah.
And when I see them now and again, they'll start singing it back to me, and they'll be like, what a great song that is. And then I'm thinking in my head, I mean, I like it. When I listen to it, I love it. But it's my baby, so I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna be biased. But when I hear it from other guys, I think, yeah, maybe. But I just think it was mistimed. And then again, this whole thing about nowadays, content doesn't last. You can have a song out, and by 6 weeks, it's old.
Yeah, it's dated, gone.
That's why artists like Diljit and Garnojala and people like that, they're releasing songs literally every month.
Yeah.
Every 6 weeks, there's something new out, if not sooner. And now they're dropping albums. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of, like I said, consistency to do that. And that's kind of where we are at now at the moment. Is I'm obviously working with, I've got 2 songs in the bag with Davinder J. I've started to work with other producers now outside of that, just trying to explore different sounds, different avenues, see if I can take that, my vocal to different places. And although I don't want to forget about my roots, I'm still going to keep this Sahota's element in there as much as I can.
I hope so.
Yeah. And again, me and Dave, or even myself, I'm fully capable of producing a fully blown Sahota's track. But I think if I want to grow as an artist from where I am now, then I'm going to have to explore some other avenues, which I'm looking forward to. I mean, again, there's two the two songs that are now pretty much ready, they've kind of got that Sahota's flavor, but they haven't got that Sahota's flavor. It's almost like I'm trying to evolve that Sahota sound for the modern listeners. So it's another experiment, but from the feedback I'm getting off the songs at the moment, they are really good.
Do you think, like, on a side note, do you think Sahotas would have evolved if they carried on?
100%. I mean, if you take a look at their albums,
Yeah,
every one of their albums, it came out, the sound was slightly different and slightly evolved. And that's why they were such a great band. You know, if you take everything from, let's just say the first album, Get That Ball,
yeah,
you can hear the sounds. They're all like, you know, there's lots of reverb in there. There's lots of synth in there. There's only a double I in there. And by the time that you get from there to Arja, which was the album where they really started getting into the super tight studio sound, you know, you can hear it on a track like Minu Chhad Ke Na Javi, Kitte Dur Soniye, that song. You play that song, it sounds as fresh today as it did then.
Phenomenal track.
It's like that Michael Jackson album. You could listen to that Michael Jackson, the Thriller album I'm talking about, by the way. You can listen to Thriller, and the song and the sounds sound as fresh as they did back then. Obviously, the style is different. It's not going to sound like stuff, but from a technical standpoint, amazing.
No, you can still blast it in a club or whatever, and it
still
still
absolutely
kicks,
and it does kick. It does kick ass, you know. And then by the time you move on to Ishq, it got super tight. You know, you will never ever have heard any music like that in the Bhangra industry that was that tight and so like logically put together on Ishq. You know, Ishq. Then obviously Has Ho Gaya, The Right Time.
Gosh.
That,
and the
again,
thing is, right,
was an involvement. It's all evolving.
I think Mukhtar's a testament to that, because he carried on evolving, didn't he? He did stuff like Jugni, the rock version and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I think like he said, and I can't remember whether it was on your podcast or in somewhere else that I heard, he didn't want his music to be Sahota's music.
Yeah.
Because he said he had done that.
Yeah.
Which is, again, fine, because now he wanted to be Mukhtar Sahota.
Yeah.
And, you know, what his sound is not going to be what Sahota's was. Although the signature will always be there underlyingly, you know, because he was a major influence on Sahota's music. So you see that it's not an evolution of Sahota's music. That's more him, you know, showcasing his preference for sound. You know, a lot of more Indian instruments included, a lot more kind of guitars, rock elements, you know. And now with some of his film music, it's mostly like all string based and things like that, which is great, you know, because the elements of that was in the Sahota's music during the latter stages.
Yeah,
they started to use a lot of string based music, especially like in Brotherhood. It's all string in that album. It's all strings, which is great.
Yeah,
you know, it's the kind of music I like. So
yeah, Jack used to use that.
I tend to use a lot of strings in mine as well. It's just one of those things. You just get used to this certain sound.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at the moment.
So, okay, you mentioned you got 2 songs coming out. What else is in the pipeline apart from those? What are your future plans?
Well, future plans. I mean, this year, like I said, I've been gigging, and I'll tell you what. One of the things I wanted to mention was, you know, you always have this kind of bucket list of things that you imagine in your time as a artist musician. I've got to tick off 2-3 things this year, like in terms of, and again, it's just happened to be at the right place, right time. So one of the things I got to do was I got to perform at an event on a stage with the old school Bhangra artists that I grew up listening to.
Mm-hmm.
So Apna Singhi, KS Bamra, Pradesi, Salinder Pradesi, Bhuta Pradesi, them guys, Bhajangi ji, got to meet him, spend some time with him. And then I got to perform on the stage with these guys around whilst we were doing the finale at the Bhangra Blast gig,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously we done from a charity point of view for the flood aid that had happened in Punjab. But the tick box for me was, I've listened to these guys my whole entire life growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden I'm on stage. And then now all of a sudden I've got a mic in my hand and I'm singing live with Shindy CS next to me, one of his songs. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was like proper high in that moment. Just looking around, Paraminder Azad is on the stage. I look to my left, he's there. I look to my right, Salinder Pradesi is there. So for me, what an amazing moment that was.
Absolutely, yeah.
These guys were the people that, when Bhangra was UK Bhangra, back in the tape days, not even the CDs, these guys were the ones that were rocking it.
Yeah, the foundation of it.
Yeah. And, Shin, absolute phenom on stage.
Yeah.
And so to be able to be just there with him at the front, just giving back vocals, man. That's all I was doing, but I was so happy about it, And then on the night, I got to perform in Birmingham again after probably, I think the last time I performed in Birmingham, like on a stage that big, was probably, but maybe in the early Punjabi X days. And even then it wasn't live, it was just
That's
PA.
a long time, bro, isn't it?
Yeah. And I got to perform my songs and my favorite Sahota songs.
Wow.
I got to perform the Buliya, I got to perform Sajjana, I got to perform Has Ho Gaya.
Really, wow.
Right, and I got to perform Teri Meri Gal Ban Gayi, one of my all-time favorite Sahota songs. I got to perform that with a live band, the live experience band. And I'll tell you what, it was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I got such great feedback and response from the crowd. It was something else. And so, yeah, again, it's one of my bucket list ticks done. So yes, I've just been gigging and I've been getting gigs, and I'm very surprised that I've been getting gigs. Again, I haven't put out any new material, but it just seems that last year, the couple of gigs that I did do, like the Wolverhampton Miller and things like that, it's had a good knock-on effect.
Good.
And each gig I do now, it seems to have a knock-on effect. And I'll be performing in my hometown, Ilford, hopefully in December as well. So that's another gig that's just come through literally in the last couple of days. So yeah, it's all going positive as far as gigs are concerned. I've got 2 new songs in the pipeline. And I'm going to hopefully sit down with some new producers in the new year and look to work something out with them. So
we need more music from you, Harvey.
Mate, the journey's not over. And, you could just say I'm getting started again.
Absolutely.
And this year's been phenomenal for me to give me, sometimes as an artist, you need hope.
Yeah.
You need that bit of positivity coming through. Because it's lacking in this industry. It's very hard. But there's a lot of new artists coming through. There's a lot of new sounds happening now, which for me, like I've always thought my sound was really like Punjabi pop. Right? And so I always thought maybe my style of music won't make it. And I thought I'm definitely not going to do folk because I'm just not that guy, I'm not going to treat this like a business and say, right, I'm going to go straight folk, hip hop beats, folk music, because that's what people want. I just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sticking to my guns. But the good news is that music is going the way I like it.
Hmm.
The last Karan Aujla album, and he's obviously again trying to redefine the genre. P-pop, it's Punjabi pop, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when he came out with that, I was really happy. I was like, great, finally, music that I can really, really understand.
It's gone full circle, isn't it?
A little bit. You could say that. You could say that. But
Back
it's
to Johnny
different.
Z days, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
come back to
Johnny Z
that.
days. And that album hit the deck, man. What a
Yeah.
phenomenal
Yeah,
album.
phenomenal, dude.
And, if people don't know the real Taz Stereo Nation till they listen to that, Johnny
Yeah,
Z,
absolutely, man.
it's all about Johnny Z. Yeah.
Oh dear, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
was,
just
yeah, man. So I'm just gonna, I think now's the right time for me. And again, I'm gonna try and be very, very consistent in the next year to come. And let's see what happens.
absolutely.
You
So
know,
before you go, Harvey,
yeah, man.
just I normally ask. We didn't get a chance to ask this last time because
Yeah,
it's been over an hour again today, hour 10 minutes.
sorry, mate.
I love it. I love it, dude. I love it. I love chatting to you.
I
So
thought I'd be shorter today, but obviously it hasn't worked out that way. Has it?
no, and truth is, I've let you speak. I've hardly interjected today because normally I interject too much because I'll get carried away and excited.
No,
But I
but you
thought
should. No, it makes for a good
no, because
conversation.
you're in the flow of stuff, you're explaining stuff, and I don't
Yeah.
want to interrupt your flow. Where we didn't talk as much about Sahota, so I didn't get as excited. Like, so yeah. But anyway, so I normally end the show with asking you a question.
Mm,
In your words, what is musical excellence? Because this is what the show is about, really. Musical
yeah.
excellence, in the pursuit of musical excellence. What, in your words, how would you define musical excellence?
See, I think musical excellence is it. It's your interpretation, I think, of what standard you hold yourself to as
Wow.
a musician, right? As an artist, as a musician. If you're looking at musical excellence from let's just say like music. So when I talk about music, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the actual arrangements, chords, and all the pieces and things like that. Well, musical excellence there means one thing. There's musical excellence in the term, you know, vocally. How good have you sang?
Yeah.
You know, there's musical excellence there. But musical excellence can also be about how creative
Yeah.
something is. It may not be perfect, but it's so creative that it's become a big thing. It's gone viral. It's massive. It's huge.
Hmm.
Could you class that as musical excellence? You've excelled in something musical.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's and it may not have been perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like now more than ever, that question is a really good question because if you look online, you got TikTok, you got Instagram, Facebook. Not so much Facebook these days, but certainly Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
People are putting out raw things,
Hmm.
music, baja, dolki, tablas. You know, even Raj Sahota now has started to play live tabla on Instagram
I've
and
seen it. Yeah.
TikTok, trying to bring that thing back in. You know, and now that's not perfectly recorded. That's not perfectly mic'd up. It's not perfectly
No.
filmed, but he's showing his musical excellence.
Hmm.
So I think for me, musical excellence is anything you do to excel yourself in music, man. That'll be my say explanation of that. And
Excellent.
it's an interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah. So, Harvey, let the guests know, with the listeners know where they can follow you, where they can catch you.
Yep.
And
Once again, I am on Facebook. I've got 2 accounts on there, but feel free to choose whichever. It's Harvey Sahota on there, and I think one's called Real Harvey Sahota.
yeah,
And then my Instagram, which is probably the best place to catch me. That's the one I'm really going to be focusing on. I haven't really got involved with TikTok so much yet. Who knows what next year holds with that one. I'm not really a TikTok influencer, I would say. I think from my point of view, Instagram will probably be the place that you're going to hear a lot of my information and a lot of my updates and things like that. So the Instagram handle is at the real Harvey Sahota. Just in case there was other Harvey Sahotas out there. This is the real one.
It reminds you of remember the cartoon, The Real Ghostbusters? Just
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so at the real Harvey Sahota Instagram, catch me on there, and all the updates will be on there.
Brilliant. So
And
guys,
follow this guy. Follow this guy. Subscribe to his channel, man. He's doing some really good stuff, and he's bringing artists like myself to you. Whether I'm boring you or not, apologies. But look, I hope you enjoyed it. It's just a segment into my journey into this wonderful thing called music. And thank you, Raj, for helping me share it.
oh no, it's been excellent, dude. Honestly, as I said, the feedback I've got from the last one was really, really, really positive, and you can see the vibe that we had last one. Just even when I called you Serge.
Yeah,
so,
I knew that.
That's great moments.
I knew that was going to happen. I thought any time now he's just going to call me Serge, and it's just going
to. Oh dear. Anyway, guys, that was Serge. Sorry, Harvey Sahota.
Boom.
That was Harvey Sahota. Make sure you check him out. Make sure you leave a review for us, guys. Make sure you follow him, and leave a like. If you listen to this on Spotify, give me a follow on Spotify. Give Harvey a follow on Spotify as well, because you can follow you can follow on Spotify as well, and things like that. So bless you guys. Until we meet again, this is the Raj Kaul podcast. And make sure you subscribe, as Harvey's already pushed it, and not only to myself and to Harvey as well. Make sure you leave a review and comment as well. So bless you guys. Until we meet again, this is Raj Kaul signing out. Bless you all.